Thank you for joining us for our LinkedIn One, Building a Powerful Profile session. Today we're going to be talking about the importance of having a robust LinkedIn profile. You're also going to hear me refer to All-Star quite a bit, and we're going to talk about what that is and why it's important to your job search. When it comes to business networking, you could say that LinkedIn literally owns the space. As the world's largest business network, LinkedIn has over 500 million, that's with a B, 500 million members worldwide. Not only is LinkedIn the place where employers, hiring managers, recruiters, and other HR professionals go to find candidates, it's also the single most important place for business professionals to network with each other and to find unpublished or hidden job opportunities. As we start talking about LinkedIn today, it's important to note that recent research from JobVite shows that 94% of recruiters and hiring professionals use LinkedIn to both source candidates, that's where they go and look for you using keywords, and then also to look at the profiles of candidates who apply to their positions. So again, even if you're not super excited about social networking, you don't have to worry about Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Snapchat, but you absolutely positively should have a strong LinkedIn profile. So as we go into LinkedIn today, we're going to be walking through all of the things that you need to do to have your profile at All-Star status. And before we start making any changes at all to your LinkedIn profile, we're actually going to go into your settings and privacies and make sure a few things are changed. So in the black toolbar across the top, you should see a tiny little picture of yourself with the word me. Go ahead and click on that down arrow next to the word me, and you'll see settings and privacy. When we go to this page, it allows us to make changes to our profile, make changes to the way people see us and how much they see. You can also go to this page to change your account settings, things like your email, your phone number. So it's really important for those of you who are transitioning out from your previous company, you do want to go into that account tab and make sure you change it from a work email to a private email. And I'll show you later how to find the help menu just in case you struggle with that. But for today's purposes, we're going to make 3 changes on this page. You should see that the privacy tab here is underlined. The very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go down to who viewers of this profile also viewed. You want to make sure that if yours is set to yes, that you actually change it back to no. If yours is set to no, fantastic, that's where you want it. The reason why we turn this off is because if I were a recruiter and I were going to your page to look at you as a possible candidate to fill a job I was working on, if you had that set to yes, LinkedIn would use their search algorithms to populate 5 other people who are similar in nature. What I mean by that is they may have the same types of job titles. They may have some of the same keywords or buzzwords in their profile. They may also live in your same general area. So you always want to make sure you turn that off so you don't give away potential competition. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to scroll down the page a little bit more, and we're going to go into the how others see your LinkedIn activity. We're going down to the third one here, and we're going to click on Share Job Changes, Education Changes, and Work Anniversaries. Once again, we want to make sure that if yours is set to yes, that you turn it to no. This will allow you to make changes to your profile without notifying your network. And so one of the things that can be a little bit frustrating about LinkedIn is we get those notifications regularly. Kelly has a new job change. Kelly has a new picture. Kelly has a new education. Pretty soon we're not excited to hear about Kelly anymore. So always make sure that this button is set to no when you are making changes or updates to your profile. Once you have your profile where you like it, you can always go back in and change it back to yes. And so that way, any of your new activity will go out in that news feed. The last thing that we're going to talk about on this page is right here at the top, edit your public profile. Now, when I click on this, you're going to notice that the profile looks a little bit different. This is your chance to also see what other people will see when they come to look at your profile. But what we're looking at doing right now is editing our URL. So what you're going to see is that you have a little blue pencil here, and if you can't see blue, then just look for the pencil. You're going to click on that pencil, and it's only going to allow you to change what's inside of this box. So typically when LinkedIn assigns you a URL in the beginning, it has a bunch of extra letters and numbers. It might have dashes behind it. You want this to be short and simple. Reason being is you will use it on your resume, in your signature block of your email, if you decide to create business cards. So you'd really like this to just be your first name and your last name. Now the challenge with that is some of us, like Kelly Jones, may have a very common name, so we may not be able to get away with just our first name and last name, and that's okay. You could actually add your area code to the end, so Kelly's in the greater St. Louis area, so hers could be Kelly Jones 314. If you happen to have an MBA or any kind of certification or designation, you could put that there as well. Now, because this is a demo account that we use specifically for our 3 LinkedIn sessions, we just have Kelly Jones IGHR, and IGHR stands for Impact Group HR. Okay, so again, you want to go in here and change this because you're going to update it on your LinkedIn. It's going to update on your LinkedIn. It's going to be used on your resume, and you're also going to use it in your signature block of your email and business cards. You can also take a look at this page just to see what other things are visible. Some things are required where it says basic required, but you can choose other things if you don't want to show everything on your profile. This is where you would do that as well. We encourage you to share everything though. When you're in job transition, or starting a new business, it's really important for people to be able to find you, and you're going to spend some time working with your coach to make sure that you have an optimized profile. So don't be afraid to share that information. Now we're going to actually go back to LinkedIn, and we're going to go back to Kelly's profile. Waiting just a moment in case if it takes a while to populate on your screen. Now the way that you get into your profile today is by clicking on your name. So for this case, we're going to click on Kelly Jones. When you click on your name, it's going to bring you to your actual profile page. Remember earlier at the beginning of the call, I mentioned about being an all-star. The way that you'll know is if your profile is at all-star status is right here in your dashboard. So we see that Kelly is an all-star. The things that we're going to walk through today will ensure that you too become an all-star. And the reason why that's important is because you will come up higher in the search strings when recruiters or hiring professionals are doing a skill set search and you've got those skills. So again, the whole purpose of making sure you're at all-star status or you have what's called an optimized profile is so you will come up higher in the search rankings. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move back up to the top and we're going to work our way down on the information that you need to make sure that you complete to get that optimized or all-star profile. And not to worry, sometimes LinkedIn changes things on us and it may not say all-star next time, it may say optimized. But you'll see that it will tell you what you need to do to get yourself to that level if you're missing. If you hover over it, because we're at all-star, it won't show us. But if we hovered over that, it would actually show us what was missing. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go into Kelly's profile and we're going to start making some edits. When you click on the little edit pencil, you should see that it takes you to a new pop-up window. Make sure that you don't have pop-up blockers turned off on your computer. And if you did, I'm just going to highlight, I'm going to put my cursor right here. Hopefully you can see that cursor. But up in your URL bar to the far right-hand side, if you had pop-ups off, you would just click on that and you would say always allow. The first thing that's required for you to be at all-star status is a picture. Now, I realize some of you may not be excited about putting your picture on LinkedIn, but it is one of the main requirements. It does not have to be a professional headshot. It can actually be taken from your smartphones. Our phones are so good today with the cameras. You can have a friend or a family member just take a headshot of you up against a plain wall. You could go outside and have a little bit of a background behind you, but you want to make sure that it's a headshot. You want to make sure that you're smiling, and you want to make sure that it's not too busy. Now, a lot of times questions will come up here, well, we noticed that Kelly's in black and white. Should ours be black and white? The answer to that is no. It can be black and white. It can be color. LinkedIn has added some filters. I would encourage you not to use filters per se. But as you notice, when we click on here, it allows us to either delete our photo or change our photo, and then you can also reposition the photo. Anytime you make a change, if you don't click the word apply, which is the blue button down here, it actually will not save your changes. So it is important when you're in LinkedIn to make sure that you're saving those changes as you go along. Kelly Jones is her married name. Her former name is Davis. Many of you may have worked under a maiden name, or you may have a married name and then you may have gone back to your maiden name. In some cultures, it's very common for children to take their both parents' last names. So again, you want to be known on here how people can find you. So if they knew her as Kelly Davis, that's how they would search. If they know her as Kelly Jones, that's how they would search. So just remember, in the former name, you can put the additional names you're known as. You could also go into this section, and if she didn't go by Kelly, let's say she went by Susan, we could put Susan in quotation marks, and then it would be Kelly Susan Jones, so people would be able to find her that way. Let me go back and fix that. Okay. The next thing that we're going to talk about is not a requirement to be optimized or all-star, but it is a nice thing to do. See this background picture we have here of people putting their hands together and showing teamwork and technology? There's a little pencil that you can use up here to make edits as well, and that's where you can just add a little bit of personality to your profile. If you go to your profile page and you haven't done this yet, you're going to see that the blue connect the dots. That's the LinkedIn's basic background. But you can go to websites like Canva, CANVA.com, like the word canvas without an S, canva.com, unsplash.com, and you can also Google free background images for LinkedIn. The nice thing about this, again, is it just allows you to add a little personality to your profile. So you either want to use something specific to your profession or something perhaps like a cityscape or a nice nature background. You just don't want it to be anything too fun, too crazy. It doesn't really need to be sports teams unless you're looking for a job with a sports team, then of course you could do that. And whenever you have questions about anything on your LinkedIn profile, well, I absolutely recommend that you set up a time to talk with your coach. He or she would be happy to walk you through it to make sure that everything looks good and you're right on track with where you need to be. The next thing that we're going to talk about is right here in the headline. LinkedIn gives you 120 characters to create a headline that counts. So what you want to do typically in the headline is either put the type of job title you're interested in next, and then a couple of those key skills. You could also come up with a fun tagline if you wanted to put something there, but you want this to be what you want to be next, not what you were doing previously. And for most of us, this headline is going to be our previous job with our previous company. But you don't want to leave it at that because we're going to be making some additional updates. So again, your headline, you have 120 characters. Put in some keywords or buzzwords for your specific industry, or put in the type of job title you would like next. Now you're going to see here that you have the option to talk about a current position. We're going to skip that for right now, and I'm going to take you back out to her profile and show you how you can put in a current position if you're ready to do so. So please don't worry. I know several of you are typing in the chat box, well, I'm not currently working. I don't have a current position. We're going to show you how you can create something that's called a placeholder to let people know who you are, what you do really well, and what you would like to do next. So I promise we'll go out to the profile to do that. You're going to see anything with a star next to it is a requirement to fill in. So you can go through and fill out the rest of this. You're also going to see that you have the option for an industry. Now, if you want to go back into the same industry you were in before, you just search through these drop-down boxes and you look for the industry that's closest to what you do. For those of you who are considering making a career change, let's say that you want to go into higher education and become a professor. Well, you could change that industry right there. So again, you either change it to what you want to work in if you're making a career change, or you leave it in what you have been doing if you'd like to stay in the same type of field. Right here, you're going to see another little pencil. This is a new change. You didn't used to do this here, but this is where you would click if you wanted to add a personal website, if you have samples of your work. You could add a phone number. Now, let me just share with you on this particular contact info page. This is not visible to everyone. It's only visible to your level 1 connections, and then anyone who has the LinkedIn Recruiter account or the premium account sometimes can see this information as well. So if you choose to put your phone number in there, just know that people may call you on it. Email address, you can actually have your email address, which you should, and that's again where you want to make sure you're using your personal email and not your old work email. If you happen to have an instant messenger like Twitter, if you have Instagram, you can add those, or WeChat, it's very popular internationally, you can add that as well. And then the last thing that I just want to encourage you to do is not include your birth date information. There's a lot of concerns about security out there today, and you just don't want to share anything that would give people your home address or your birth date. Okay? So again, that's how you go in and you edit that contact information. I'm going to show discard those changes because I don't want that change to hold. Now, the other thing that we're going to talk about next is you're going to see right here in this box, you have 2,000 characters to let people know about you and your background and your passions and what you like. This is where you will cut and paste that information, but we're going to go out to Kelly's profile now and take a look so you can see what it looks like. It's a little bit easier to see on the next screen. So this is that opening summary section that I was telling you that is a requirement to make sure that you are at all-star status. And you want it to be personalized. This is where it differs from your resume. You get to talk about yourself in first person. You get to use I, me, or my statements. And honestly, these first 2 lines are very important because when you go to look at someone else's profile, these first 2 lines are what they see. So you can come up with something a little bit catchy here, or you can talk about, again, your background and expertise. So with Kelly, we came up with, are you worried about the security of your company's network? so am I. I'm fortunate to have had a successful career providing world-class service to both internal and external customers, and I have expertise in. So again, make this about who you are, what you do really well, and you can even indicate what you would like to do next. So as you see here for Kelly, we went through and added a couple of her most memorable support projects. So for you, these could be your PAR statements from your resume or your PAR statements from your interviewing stories. And then down at the bottom, because Kelly is just a demo account and we don't want to have too many contacts, I will tell you though, you guys can see these 4 connection requests up here. They are from recruiters. So this profile really works. I just need to respond to them later and let them know this is for demonstration purposes only. At the bottom down here though, this is what we've done. If you are ready to let the world know that you are open to discussing new opportunities, this is one way you can do it. At the end of your opening summary, you can add, I'm open to discussing opportunities in the greater St. Louis area. I'm interested in permanent and or contract roles. I'm available to travel. Let's connect. You can even put your email address here so that recruiters can find that very quickly even if they're not connected to you, or hiring managers can reach out to you even if you're not connected yet. So again, this is only if you're ready to let the world know that you're open to discussing new opportunities. This will tie into the next section that we're getting ready to go into here in just a moment. So as I said, your dashboard is private to you. It lets you know if you are at all-star status. It lets you know how many times your profile has been viewed. If you've written any articles or shared any blog stories, it'll let you know if those have been viewed. It also shows you how much you're showing up in search appearances. So it's really important to kind of take a look at this because as you update your profile and you make it more robust with industry-specific keywords and job-specific keywords, you should notice that you go up higher in those search appearances. Give me just a second. The next thing that I want to discuss with you is this career interest section. I'm going to click on this really quickly so that you can see what this is. But once you have your profile updated and you've reviewed it with your coach, you definitely want to let recruiters know you're open. So you have this little toggle switch up here, and ours is currently set to off. Let's turn it on so I can show you what you would do, again, once you've updated your profile and reviewed it with your coach. Then you want to go in and turn this on. But you want to let recruiters know right here exactly what you would like to do. So you let them know the types of positions you're interested in. If you are open to relocation, you could list the states by their abbreviated code. So if you wanted to move to Indiana, it would be IN. You can also say if you're willing to travel a certain percentage if you have a current visa. A passport or a work visa for another country. You have 300 characters there, so make them count. Don't write generic things like I'm hardworking, loyal, and dedicated, and I'd like to find a new position. Put in there the types of positions you're looking for and any other pertinent data that would help them decide if they would like to talk to you. You're also going to see that once you turn that button on, you have the option to choose your status. Okay, so for most of you, we're going to choose actively applying. If you're in a situation where you want to take the summer off or take some time off for holidays, you could always put casually looking. I'm not going to go through the rest of this page because it's pretty self-explanatory, but make sure you take 5 minutes to fill this out because it does make a difference and it will help recruiters know exactly what you're looking for. We're going to go back to Kelly's profile now, and we're going to continue building it out. The next section that we're going to talk about is probably one of the most important sections, and that is your experience section. In the experience section, this is where you're going to show your previous employers, but it's also where you can go in and create what we call as a placeholder. In order to be at all-star status or to have a complete profile, LinkedIn requires you to have something in the present job field. So you have a couple of options here. We surveyed hundreds and hundreds of hiring managers and recruiters, and we asked them and said, okay, when do you expect people to update their resumes when they've left their previous job? And unanimously, everyone said instantly. You know, we expect that end date to be instant from when you left the company. When we talked about LinkedIn, though, we got a completely different mix of answers. Some of them said, well, they could update it immediately. Others said, nah, they don't need to update it until they get a new job. Others said, well, if they've been on the market 3-4 months, they might want to update it to let people know that they are on the market and looking. So from our standpoint, we're just going to recommend that if you've been on the job market for 3 to 4 months and you want to let people know that you are open to discussing new opportunities, you can indeed go in and create this placeholder. The way that you would do it is by clicking on this little plus sign right above the edit pencil. It's taking a little bit of time for it to open on my computer. Okay, very good. Before you do anything on this page, make sure you go down here to update my headline and uncheck this box. The reason why you've already gone through in the opening section and you've created your dynamic new headline with your type of position you're looking for and some of those keywords for the industry that you want to work in or the role you want to work in. So if you forget to uncheck that box, then you're actually going to have to go back and create it again. So I just wanted to show you that as you go through. But you'll see here you have the ability to put in the title that you want. You also have the ability to put in a company name. Now, because this is a placeholder and it's not a real company, you're going to put in skills here, or you can put industry. So we could say healthcare, information technology. If I could spell. This is why I shouldn't do this part, etc. Okay? So it's going to continue to try to auto-populate something for you, but you don't have to. I want to take you out to the one we created for Kelly because it's so much easier to see this way. So again, in the job title, you're going to put in the type of job title you're interested in next. Okay? Now, we aren't looking for a specific title for Kelly. We're just saying that she's interested in information technology and cybersecurity. Down below, we did not choose a company name, but rather we put in cybersecurity, information technology, healthcare, education, and consumer services. So you can put in here the industries that you would like to work in, or again, you can share some of those keywords or your skills. And then down below, this part is really helpful. This is where you enter the information to let recruiters know what you're open to. Now, I know it's really hard to read this while I have it highlighted blue, so I'm going to take the highlight off. But so what we did for Kelly, I'm a technology professional with expertise supporting end users and networks. I'm currently pursuing my Security Plus certification, and then I will go on to obtain my CEH, which stands for Certified Ethical Hacker, and we mention that above in the summary, so we can use the acronym below. Then we add another line here. Currently, I'm open to discussing part-time or contract roles and will be ready to explore full-time permanent opportunities once I have my Security Plus and CEH. We also put down some of her volunteer experience. So this is where you have the option to either put in information about the type of job that you would like next. You could also add information on any volunteer experience you have or any volunteering that you're doing currently. Or if you're going back to school, you can put information there. But the most important reason why we do this is because LinkedIn requires something in the present job field. And we have handouts on this for you. After class, you can go back to the link on your webinar calendar, and we have handouts that cover almost every single section of what we're talking about today. So if this feels like it's a lot of information, please feel free to look at those handouts. We also are recording the session, so you'll be able to go in and listen to the recording again. And then you are always welcome to take our class another time. We realize this is a lot of information. So as I said, you are required to have something in the present job field, and this is a sample of what you can do. LinkedIn also requires you to have at least 2 previous jobs. Now, I know for some of you, you may have worked for the same employer for 15, 20, 30 years. So if you put in that employer and you list out the whole time, you may see that you're not at all-star status. If you're at all-star status, great, don't change it. But if it says expert, then you may need to go in and separate out your years with that same company. And so you notice while Kelly was with us at MyIMPACT, she started out as a help desk specialist, and then she was promoted to technical support manager. So if you can show it that way on your profile, it's a really good idea because you're showing your promote ability or you're showing that you held multiple positions throughout your time at the same company. And then here, personalize the information again. I, me, and my statements. Tell a little bit about your story, and then you can also go into more detail. So here on Kelly's, we opted to go ahead and put a couple of her accomplishments. You can do that. Those are your PAR statements again from your resume or your accomplishment statements from your resume. So that is the experience section. The next thing that we're going to move into is education. You are required to have at least 1 entry in the education section. So for those of you who were fortunate enough to go to university or to college, you want to put your highest level of education first. So in Kelly's case, we just have her bachelor's degree. But what you're going to do is if you don't have any yet, you're going to click the plus sign, and you're going to go in to add it. Now, I want to let you know if she had a master's degree, she would have the master's on top and then the bachelor's degree. For those of you who did not have the opportunity to go on to university or college, you can put any kind of technical training or certifications that you have in here. If you ever took any professional development courses through your course of employer, courses with your former employer, you can put that there as well. Now, something else I want to tell you that's really important is you don't need to have your years here. So I'm going to go back to Kelly's sample, and I'm going to show you how you can remove the years off of one that you already have on here. Most employers only want to see the years if you graduated within the last 5 to 7 years. For those of us like myself who have 25 years of work experience, it's not important to see when we got it. They just like to know that we have it. So we're going to go into edit mode. And you're going to see at the top of the drop-down box, now it may be a little bit hard to see on my computer screen, but at the very tip top of that drop-down box, you're going to click on the word year, and the same thing in the second box. You're going to click on the word year. What that does when you save it is it actually removes the years off of your education. If you are like Kelly and you've had the opportunity to have both the background in university and then some additional licenses and certifications, you can break those out separately. Whenever you want to add a new profile to or new section to your profile, you go up here to the top and you see this Add a Profile section button, and you just click on that. And it actually allows you to kind of click through and add the information that you want to add. So you see here we have licenses and certifications. You could add volunteer experience. You could add some additional information. So again, if you have licenses and certifications, you want to go ahead and add those. Now you're going to see, in Kelly's case, we're actually currently working towards a certification. So we don't have it yet, but we want to say that we're working on it and the expected graduation date or the expected date of completion. So for those of you who are currently enrolled in any kind of a training program, or if you're back at college or university, go ahead and put an expected date in there. That way you can include it on your profile, but it doesn't look misleading and make someone think that you have it when you haven't yet completed it. Volunteer experience, not 100% required, but it's very good to have, particularly if you're doing a lot of volunteering right now while you're in transition. And so in Kelly's case, she's a volunteer with Tech in Schools, and this is a nonprofit group that goes into community schools to educate children about the importance of internet safety. I made this up. There probably is something like that out there, but again, I just wanted to have something to show for you. So if you have a community volunteer that you are passionate about, it's great to share it. If you've ever been on a board of directors, or if you have a lead volunteer role, you can always put that there because employers like to see it as well. Again, not required, but something that's nice to have. The next required section on LinkedIn to be complete or all-star is the skills and endorsement section. Now, if you already have these on your profile, you're going to see that you have the option to add a new skill. When I click on that, it opens up a new text box for me, and if I started typing in a word, if I can spell, it'll bring up anything with internet. And so I could go through here and I could add that to my profile if I wanted. Now you're going to see we've got a handful of skills here for Kelly. LinkedIn gives you the opportunity to add up to 50, but that's silly. You don't need that many. Pick 5 to 10 things that you do really well and then put those on your profile so that your friends and former colleagues can endorse you for them. Okay? Now, notice there were 8 on her profile, but only the top 3 are showing up. So if you need to edit the order that these are showing up, you're going to click on this little blue pencil again. You're going to notice there are 3 skills that you can have as your featured top skills. So for Kelly, we have cybersecurity, technical support, and information security. Let's say that we wanted to change one. Well, you have to unpin something so you can pin a new one, and watch what happens when I pin this. Notice network administration went up to the top, and then the others went down below. You'll also see next to this little trash can here that you can move things up by clicking on the little 4 lines. So I had cybersecurity at the top and then technical support and network administration. I just changed that around. So again, remember, the whole point behind endorsements is the more endorsements you have for a skill set, it's supposed to attract the eye of the recruiter. And it is a requirement to have a complete or all-star profile, so you need to have at least 5. Now, I don't want to save those changes, so I'm going to click out on that X again, and it's going to say, are you sure you want to discard the changes? So that's kind of a good thing about LinkedIn. Usually it will notify you if you're trying to click out and you haven't saved something. Right now, you have done everything that you need to do to have that complete or all-star profile. So again, you must have a picture, you must have a zip code, you must have a summary, you must have something in the current job field, you must have at least 2 previous jobs. Now, there might be a caveat with that. You might be able to count 2 jobs within the same company, and you must have 5 endorsable skills and 1 thing in education. So those are all the things that are required to have your profile at All-Star status. Now what we're going to talk about that's really important, though, is recommendations. In the past, LinkedIn used to require you to have 3 recommendations to have a complete or all-star profile. Well, that's changed when they introduced the skills. They took away the requirement for recommendations. However, we are going to strongly encourage you to get 3 recommendations on your profile, at least 3. And you do that if you already have some on your profile. You can ask for recommendations this way. If you want to edit some that are on your profile, let's say that you have some older ones and you've gotten some newer ones, you can go into edit mode and you can move up which ones are the first ones seen. But now let's say that you don't actually have any recommendations on your profile yet. You're going to go to the search box. We're going to type in my name real quick, and we're going to pull up Jennifer's profile. When you get to Jennifer's profile page, you're going to see the more ... option. When you click on that, you can request a recommendation. Now, the individuals that you want to request a recommendation from are former managers. You can request recommendations from your colleagues or your peers, so people at the same level. You can also request recommendations from people who reported into you. It's fantastic if you're applying for a manager role or higher if someone who reported into you writes one. You can also reach out to vendors that you've worked with throughout the years, or if you had a really close relationship with clients, you can reach out to them as well. And what you do is you go to their profile page, like I said, and then you click on that more ... and then request a recommendation. So let me just show that again. More ... request a recommendation. You have to select the relationship. So we're going to say that Jennifer managed Kelly directly, and then you have to select your position at the time. So whatever company you worked together at previously, and then you're going to see the next button. When you click on next, it's super, oops, sorry about that. I'm not sure what just happened there. It's always fun when your computer goes a little haywire. When you click on this next section, it says, can you write me a recommendation? You absolutely want to remove that, and you want to say something like, hi, Jennifer. I'm in the process of updating my LinkedIn profile, and I would be grateful if you would write me a recommendation for our time together on the XYZ project. I know we were able to come in under budget and ahead of schedule. Thanks so much, Kelly. So again, you want to be as specific as you can with the recommendation request, because if you don't, you might get kind of a weak one. Oh, Kelly was really great to work with, and I'd welcome the chance to work with her again. It's not terrible. It's just not really helpful, and it doesn't talk about your skills that you're trying to promote. So now we're going to go back to Kelly's profile. We're going to do a quick recap, and then we're going to end the session. So when you look at your profile, remember, you must have a picture. You must have something in this, either a zip code or a city or state where you would like to be. For those of you who are looking at relocating, you can actually go in and put that you are interested in positions in the area that you want to relocate to. You want to make sure that you have a nice, robust summary. You have 2,000 characters here, so use them to their fullest extent. And this is where you can start to let people know if you're open to discussing new opportunities. As you scroll down and you get into the experience section, remember, you must have something in the present job field. So it's up to you to decide if you want to keep your previous employer as present for approximately 3 to 4 months, or if you're ready to let everyone know that you are open to new opportunities, take the time to create this placeholder with the type of position you're interested in, a couple of industries you'd like to work in, and then a little note about what you've been up to and what you would like to do next. You need the 2 previous jobs, and this is what it looks like when you break down a job within a job, so technical support manager and help desk specialist. You must have 1 education, whether it's college, university, high school, trade school, or professional development and training courses you've taken. And then you must have 5 endorsable skills. And if you do all of that, then you're going to go back up here to your profile and you're going to see that you are indeed at all-star status. And the reason why we want that is because we come up higher in the search rankings when recruiters and HR professionals are doing a search for candidates with our skill set. Usually at this time, someone asks me the question of, hey, Jennifer, should I pay to upgrade my LinkedIn account? And the answer to that is going to be, it depends. We believe that if you do everything that we teach you in this session, and then if you take our second session and then also watch our session on finding recruiters on LinkedIn, that you don't necessarily need to pay for that upgrade. But if you decide that you want to update your profile, review it with your coach, make sure you guys are both really happy with it, and you want to try that free upgrade for 1 month, it doesn't hurt. But our thought process is we don't want you to upgrade just to upgrade, because if you're not sure what to do with it, you really don't get much benefit out of it. And then we showed you earlier that you can let recruiters know you're open by clicking right here in the middle of your dashboard. And if yours is off, you turn it to on. I'm going to turn hers off because we're not actively looking right now. And then once you're happy with your profile and everything is great and you want to go ahead and turn those notifications back on, you click on the down arrow, you go back to settings and privacy, you go down about halfway down the page and share job changes, education changes, work anniversaries, etc. Change that back to yes. This is ending our Building a Powerful LinkedIn Profile session right now. I strongly encourage you to attend our LinkedIn 2, which is all about networking through LinkedIn. And then we also have another video on how to find and work with recruiters through LinkedIn. I really appreciate you taking the time to sit with us today through this session. Remember, all of the handouts that we discussed are going to be in your webinar calendar. Under that event, you can download the handouts. You can also go back to myIMPACT and just do a search with the magnifying glass, type in the word LinkedIn, all one word, doesn't matter if it's uppercase or lowercase, and you'll find all of the resources there. So thank you again for joining us today. We wish you the absolute best in your transition, and we look forward to having you in LinkedIn 2 soon. Have a good day.